Okay, so now that we've covered most of the elements of the basics of programming, now we can start talking about functions. And functions let you store operations in a program and use it later and use it over and over again. So if you look at the syntax here, we're actually naming the function. We're going to name it anything we want. And we have open and closing parentheses here that can either hold an argument or not. Don't worry about that for now. We will run these instructions within the curly braces. And then anytime in the program that we want to call this function, we just call it. We just name it, and it will run these things. So I can run it as many times as I want to. So I'm going to grab the function itself. And this function prompts for your name and will log what is your name, or I'm sorry, it will log hello plus your name once it prompts you for that. But it has to wait for it to be called first. So let's try that in the console. I'll come down here and pop it in. So nothing really happened yet, but if I call hello, now is when it runs the program. And it's going to say hello, Cindy. And you can also use functions as variables. I know that gets a little bit confusing, but sometimes there is a return value at the end of a function, and we want to be able to store that value and maybe use that as a variable later in a program. So just keep that in mind. So there are properties and arguments that we can often use. Here is an example of what we just did, but instead of just calling hello and prompting for it, we might want to pass in when we use the function. And maybe that's coming from a form somewhere, but I'll just run the same function again with the argument here of A. And so it's going to say hello, whatever's in A. But when we call it, we're going to say hello. So that's the name of the function. And then this is going to stand in for whatever A is there. Let me use a different name. Hello, Jordan. And now it says hello, Jordan. So anytime we want to run this, and of course there can be much more complex things going on in these functions that allow us to pass anything we need to into them.